so many supporters coming here. It felt like a big victory party from the very beginning. Everyone here coming to congratulate him, and a big energetic speech on stage from Donald Trump. And then they got those results coming in, which are likely to show a fairly sizable win here in New Hampshire for the former president. I spoke with many of his supporters here, and they came in saying that, you know, they were cautious potentially about Nikki Haley's chances in New Hampshire, but they were confident in a victory. Here's what a couple of supporters told me. And I think it was notable, Sumi, seeing on stage Donald Trump making that victory speech, flanked by a couple of his former rivals. You mentioned there Vivek Ramaswamy and Tim Scott, who only recently endorsed him, up there in a show of unity. What the former president likely trying to do is have this aura of inevitability and really try to wrap this thing up as soon as possible, already potentially looking towards a general election, a rematch with Joe Biden. We saw some critical words for the current president there on stage tonight. And then on the other side, Joe Biden also seemingly already looking ahead to a rematch with Donald Trump. So it seems now, although Nikki Haley has said that she wants to continue to South Carolina at the very least, that both sides here, the president, a former president, already looking ahead to a potential general election rematch in November.
Yeah, Carl, it does look like that, doesn't it? Well, Nikki Haley at that party that she held earlier, not so far from where we are in Concord, she said, "I'm scrappy, I'm a fighter, I am sticking in this." But looking at the numbers that we're seeing, Carl, what does the path forward look like for her?
Well, the path forward gets a lot narrower. This is only 2 states, and we're not talking about delegates here because there are plenty of delegates still to be awarded. But if you look at a state like New Hampshire, this was expected to be maybe her best chance at defeating Donald Trump, or at least coming in a very close second. This is a state with around 40% independent voters. Those are the kind of voters that tend to vote for Nikki Haley. And yet, here she is looking at a potential double-digit defeat in the state. Going ahead, what the Haley campaign says is that, hey, hang on, we've got a chance. It's still very early. South Carolina, obviously, potentially friendly territory for her. She's a former governor there, although she's not polling particularly well. And then on Super Tuesday, what the campaign said is that there are several states with a similar situation to New Hampshire, where there are either open primaries or semi-open, which will allow those kind of independents to cast their votes for Nikki Haley. And we know that she does well with moderate Republicans and unaffiliated voters. So that could be a path forward for her. There's a potential as well that she may try to stick it out a bit longer and see how some of these legal cases play out for Donald Trump. But at the same time, it becomes harder and harder to justify staying in a race where even in the state where you thought you might perform the best, you still lose to what is looking like a juggernaut in the Trump campaign.
Yeah, well, for now, the race does go on. All right. Carl Nasman for us in Nashua. Thank you so much.